Howdy, everybody. I'm Joe, and I'm glad that you're here to start the party with us this week. We're moving through a series this summer called Start the Party, and it's about the promise that Jesus made about getting the most out of life. You see, you have what it takes to be a party starter in this life, and that's why we're spending the summer talking all about what that means. Now, I know we all love a good party around here. And remember, we're not talking about an actual party, though, spoiler alert, every weekend is a party here at Eastside. When we say party in this series, we mean any effort to celebrate, serve, or enjoy others in a way that adds value to life. With that in mind, being a party starter simply means you're the one doing those things and inviting others to join you. Before we get into what kind of party starters we want to be this week, let me tell you a quick story. Every Friday when I was in junior high, my small group leader would pick up me and a few other kids in our small group super early in the morning from our houses. Like super early. It was horrible. We would spend some time together praying and then stop at a local restaurant and eat breakfast together before he dropped us off at school. Now, I hated waking up early, but it was always so fun, and it was in those moments that I learned how to pray. Why am I telling you the story? Well, because I think we could all use more people like Kurt. We all need people who could show up, who care, who go above and beyond, not because they're asked to, but because they know it's the right thing to do. Those people are party starters. And today I'd love for you to hear from someone who's a party starter right here at Eastside.
Hi, my name is Bella Bolin, and I am going up to 7th grade, and I'm working in Special Forces, and I just feel like God has gone an extra mile because He has put me into that, into helping and serving, and I just feel like He has done a lot for me, and He has done a lot for a lot of people. Like my sister, when she was born, she wasn't able to talk because she had so much trouble even growing up, and God has helped her through it. And it's just like a lot of people need to realize that. So I feel like He's gone an extra mile for like a lot of people, and He has helped us through a lot of stuff. I feel like I go an extra mile sometimes when I'm helping a lot, and I feel like sometimes I go an extra mile when I'm helping watch some of the kids, because a lot of them are very much like, sometimes they'll be very extra and they will not be able to do anything, and I have to help them through it. So I feel like that's when I'm going an extra mile, when I'm helping the kids.
Wow, they really went above and beyond for others. Now, I don't know about you, but for me, this whole doing more than what's asked of me thing isn't really all that easy. I think that's probably why we tend to really notice when someone else does it for us. It just doesn't happen all that often, and that's what makes it really stand out. I think if we're honest, most of us, myself included, would say it's easier to just do the bare minimum. Sure, we could do more, say more, help more, show up more, be there more, but no one's asked us to do that. It's not required of us, so we just don't. Of course, I know doing the bare minimum doesn't always come from a bad place. Sometimes we do this because we're just tired. You can't give more to someone else because you need someone to help you right now. Sometimes the extra effort doesn't seem like it would really do any good anyways. You couldn't possibly have enough time, money, or resources to make that much of an impact, right? Or sometimes our bare minimum is the result of fear. And maybe you want to help someone out, but you're scared to mess it up, or embarrass yourself, or do or say the wrong thing. Sometimes it's the result of laziness. Maybe you're just not motivated to do much more than what you have to do right now. No matter the reason, hear me when I say this. When it comes to helping others, I think doing the bare minimum is something we all do sometimes. But if you stop and consider it, is this the kind of person that you want to be? Do you want to be someone who lives life doing the minimum? Or do you think you might want to be someone who does a little more and chooses to go the extra mile? Someone who lives more like a party starter when it comes to helping others. Yeah, in this series, we've been talking about what it means to live the full, amazing life Jesus came for us to have. And part of living that party starter life is choosing to go the extra mile. How do I know? Well, because of Jesus.
Heyo!
Everything about Jesus' life, ministry, death, and resurrection was about going the extra mile for the people He loved. And Paul, one of the leaders of the early church, put it this way: "But God demonstrates His own love for us in this: while we were still sinners, Christ died for us." I mean, talk about going the extra mile, right? I mean, Jesus didn't wait for us to ask. He didn't wait for us to prove we deserved it. He didn't wait for us to get it right or show our gratitude or promise never to mess up again. No, while we were still in the middle of our mess, Jesus went the extra mile. He died for us simply because He loves us.
That's a pretty big deal.
But Jesus took this extra mile stuff one step further. He didn't just do it for us and tell us not to worry about it in our own lives. No, Jesus calls us to follow His example and do the same for others. Before we get into His actual words, let me give you a little background on what was going on at the time Jesus gave this challenge. During the time of the Roman Empire, when Jesus was on earth, Roman soldiers had all the power. They could get away with just about anything, especially when it came to the Jewish people, most of whom were not citizens of Rome. And during that time, there was a practice which basically said a Roman soldier could demand someone carry their belongings, their armor or gear for a full mile, no questions asked. And if a Roman soldier didn't feel like carrying something, it was common for that soldier to pick a random person and force them to carry it for him for a mile. Not cool, right? You'd probably expect Jesus to say something like,
You don't have to listen to them or don't help those soldiers do anything.
Instead, take a look at what Jesus said. If anyone forces you to go 1 mile, go with them 2 miles. Wait, what? Jesus wants us to go another mile, to do more than what's required of us, to help someone even when they've done nothing to deserve it? Yes, walking another mile was what it looked like in Jesus' time. In today's world, this doesn't necessarily mean we literally walk the second mile with somebody. It means we go above and beyond. Do more than the minimum. Don't wait to be told or asked. Just help because that's what a party starter does. A party starter does more than what is asked of them. Now, let me be clear here. I'm not suggesting that you should do so much for someone else that it causes harm to you. You have to take care of yourself too. You need good, healthy boundaries to know when you've done enough or when you just don't have much to give. Jesus isn't asking us to do something out of obligation. He's asking us to partner with him to do more for others whenever and however we can. It's an invitation to follow Jesus' example and start the party by going the extra mile for others when we can. What do we do with all this? If we want to be party starters who do more than what is asked of us, where do we start? Well, I think a great place to start is with the question we asked earlier. What kind of person do you want to be? Do you want to be someone who does the minimum? Or do you want to be someone who goes the extra mile? Before you can move forward, you have to decide who you want to be. And then do something you don't have to do. It's okay to start small. Remember, the extra mile will look different for each one of us and for each situation we're in. So think about just one way you can choose to go that extra mile this week. What do you think would happen if you did more to help around the house this week without being asked? What might it look like if you were generous and kind with someone you know is lonely? What if you did something unexpected to help somebody? What can you do to help a friend you know needs it? Finally, remember that sometimes you need to let somebody else walk with you. Sometimes you need somebody else to go the extra mile for you. And that's part of life. So if that's where you are right now, don't be afraid to speak up. In fact, your small group is a great place to start. You're surrounded by people who want to help you. Other party starters who are willing to go the extra mile. Consider talking to your group today about how you can walk with each other through both the good and the difficult times. Remember, a party starter does more than what is asked of them, and that's what I hope you'll consider doing this week.